All right. Hey, everybody. I was sharing. How's everybody doing? Let me look at the comments. I see there's people in here already. Christina,
Oh,
Sergeant Adam. Hey, how are you guys? And there's someone else that it said was on here, I think. Bridget, somebody, but I don't see her comments yet. How's everybody?
it's okay.
This is Rosie and Jason, and we have a special guest, Miss Jessica Lloyd, and we're going to let her tell us a little bit about her, like what kind of work she does and herself. Maybe if she wants to share a little bit of her background and how she became to do the kind of healing and stuff that she does. And let me make it where I can make you bigger right here. I like your background. It's pretty, like the chakra flag
Thank
on the
you.
wall. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I was born and raised as a member of the Mormon cult. Didn't realize it was a cult until actually I'd been to some energy healing stuff, and I was like wanting to see how energy healing and Mormonism work together. And I found information about Joseph Smith. Am I echoing?
I don't think it sounds like an echo. It might be kind of sounds like, I don't know what you would actually
Okay.
describe that as, because it's not like I'm hearing it again. Really?
It's kind of weird.
Maybe like, was it reverb? I don't know.
Okay. Can you hear me still?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Now I
Does it
can't.
sound echo on your end?
Let me see if I have some headphones. If it's on my end.
Yeah, that'll work good. Hello, Julie.
No, they're not here. Okay, so
Samantha, Tim, hello, how are y'all?
okay.
Does it sound like echo to you, Jason, on her end? Or
I heard.
mine?
I hear when I talk too.
Yeah,
You?
I can hear it on Jason
Let me
too.
try headphones for myself. Maybe that'll fix it. I don't know. We shall see.
Okay.
Let's try. Let's try this. Because sometimes just one person doing it helps out a lot. Okay. Sorry, bear with me. These are.
Hat, headphones, maybe you got
There. I forgot I have a witch hat on. You can't wear headphones very well with a witch hat on.
Oh, that sounds a lot better. How about on your end, Jason?
Is it?
I think that's better.
Yeah. Okay. So what I was saying was that as I was trying to make my religion and energy healing mesh, I accidentally tripped over information about my religion and realized that my religion was really not a good thing, which was shocking to me because I had been in it for 45 years. And
Oh my
it
goodness,
was,
that's a very long time.
yeah, it was my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so I left, felt like the rug had been pulled out from underneath me, didn't know who I was anymore. And then I discovered Reiki healing. And I took a course in Reiki, and that really was very, very helpful in my faith transition from this culty religion to spirituality. And as I was doing these energy healings, ancestors started coming through to me.
Yeah.
And I at first didn't know what it was. The first time it happened, it was a smell. And I was in my kitchen alone, and I kept smelling toast. And I was like, why am I smelling toast? And I talked to the client I was working with, and it turns out that her grandma, who we had been doing some energy work on, had been a really good tortilla maker.
Oh, yum.
And I was like, huh. And so then it happened again. And then I started realizing, what, putting two and two together and figuring out what it was. And now what happens is in almost every single one of my sessions, after we've done healing on the individual, we work on healing their ancestors, and their ancestors will show up and They will have messages. They will tell the client different things. Frequently, it's just that they're thankful, that they're grateful that this member of their family is doing all of this shadow work and doing the ancestral healing. And it's just really cool. So that's kind of how it all fell into place.
I bet that person was shocked when you told them that you smelled that, and they were
Yeah. And
like,
and
it's for toasted tortillas.
It kind of switched pretty quick from being able to smell. I don't hardly ever smell anybody anymore, but now I can feel their presence and I can hear them, and I get like images in my mind from them. So it's pretty
I think
cool.
a lot of healers have either like empathetic or sensitivities or mediumistic abilities, or they're sensitive or whatever, and they pick up on stuff and they're connected to things that are not able to be, seen with the naked eye.
Yeah, it's really kind of cool. Kind of been a neat journey to go through.
Yeah, it sounds very
interesting. A lot of comments. And some more comments. I didn't want to stick all these comments on you while you were talking.
Oh, that's okay. Sorry.
I did that last week, and the guy was like, "Oh, hang on." It's like,
I'm seeing Bridget Connolly saying that she thinks that it's really cool when the spirits come through and the smells are awesome. Julie says hello. Cool.
That's cool.
So have you ever gotten a weird smell that just like wasn't pleasant or whatever, or like a weird vision or a weird presence that wasn't
the
pleasant?
Weirdest thing that's happened is I've had ancestors who are not speaking English.
Oh, wow.
And I cannot understand them. So I've had Spanish for a client, and then I was working with my aunt. So this was one of my ancestors that was coming through, and she was speaking Dutch, I think. Swedish. Swedish. Yeah. I no clue what they were saying, but it's kind of also cool because I do have that empath ability that I can feel what they're feeling.
Yeah.
So I can kind of translate through the emotional side of it.
Yeah.
Even if I don't get the words part of it.
Or maybe like the way that they're conveying the word, like, with an explanation or like, with passion or, like with just like, however their intention when behind their words is. Sometimes is how I can tell if someone's speaking what they're saying in the other language when I don't really know the language very well.
Yeah. What about when your lights blink in your house in a particular room when you are stressed? I can't answer that one. Can either of you?
That is usually actually linked to psychokinetic or psychokinesis phenomena and ability, which is sometimes linked to the person that is stressed. When they're stressed, their focus might not be able to be grounded, and so it affects electronics around them, electronic devices around them. It sucks the energy out of things around them. It can actually even suck people's energy out of them, like an energy vampire, because you're not aware that you're doing it. You're not anchoring and like grounding yourself. Whoever was the stressed person, I'm assuming it was
go anchor themselves.
Yeah, like
go
ground yourself.
Ground, walk in the grass, connect with Mother Nature.
Yeah, try some of those things or research different grounding techniques that might resonate specifically with you.
Yeah.
Sometimes not every person's, like, what am I trying to say? Like, not everything works for every person. Some person might need a specific kind of grounding because you never know someone's past or trauma or whatnot, what's triggering them.
Well, what's cool is that there are so many. There's a big list of things that can be done to help ground and heal any and all of the chakras, that everybody can find something that works for them.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I blow out light bulbs when I'm stressed. Wow, Bridget, the person who birthed me has the same.
That is a very strong energy.
That is a very strong energy.
Yeah.
Which is impressive at one point, but then at the other point, wouldn't it get expensive buying light bulbs all the time?
Right.
So it might be like time to just like check in with yourself and see what your strength is. Like, what can you use? You can harbor that energy and you can direct it somewhere that's good, like helping yourself figure out what you might be destined to do. I don't know, like maybe you're a healer, like she's a healer. Some people have different destinies and different abilities, different energies and different connections to whatnot, because they're meant to be on this earth in this lifetime to do something awesome with it or special with it. There's a lot of different people you'd probably want to talk to, but we could talk about that later. There'd be a lot of different people, but maybe they need healing done too, because sometimes I feel like the fact that like they don't have control over that emotion and they just have that emotion, whatever triggered it might be something that they need to heal, and that's why it's not really grounded and it's just happening.
Right. But that does sound like you're a very powerful energy conduit. And and if you heal that and you learn how to direct that energy instead of blowing up light bulbs, you could be doing something else really cool with that energy.
Yeah, like I don't know, maybe connecting with people's loved ones, connecting with your ancestors, find out, like you can use it for, I guess I could think of probably a million things. I could go on and on and on.
Things, right.
Hey Penny, how are you? And Amelia, Julie. We have, thank you. Another question.
Was it easy for you to form the energy in the palms of your hands? Yes. Yes, it is easy for me. I know some people have a harder time with it. But when I took my Reiki course, it became even more easier, especially after each attunement. The more you learn about it, the more the energy can flow. But a really easy way to start to feel energy is you can rub your hands together, and you know how they get warm, like you're outside trying to warm up your hands. You get that energy flowing between your hands, and then you just start to pull them apart, and you can feel it. Kind of feels a little bit like a magnetism between your hands, and you can feel that energy. And the more you practice and play with it, the more familiar you become with it, the easier it is. So like for me, I can feel this energy, and I can pull it and stretch it, and I can squish it. And you can't see it, but I can see it in my mind, and I can change it from, right now it's kind of a white energy, to a pink. I can make it a ball, and I can throw it at you. And you could feel it even through the internet. I'm not going to do that because I don't know where it would really go right now, but that's just a quick way that
is kind of what people are doing when they're making light bulbs burst, right? They're directing the energy without knowing it at something, and it just happens to go toward the light bulb because it's an electronic or electrical, like energetic thing, and it just happens to affect it, I guess. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit more about your your Mormon stuff. That's pretty interesting. I've watched a lot of stuff on that, and
me too. I've had people try to convert me to Mormonism several times. A friend of mine, actually.
I'm gonna answer Julie's question really quick, and then we can discuss Mormonism. So Julie says, "What do you think about grounding barefoot on the earth?" I love it. I do it all the time. I go outside and I walk barefoot on my lawn. I don't know what I'm going to do when winter comes, but I do it all the time. I go outside and I walk barefoot. Sometimes I even go hug my tree in my backyard if I feel like I really need some good connection. So walking around barefoot is very good at grounding yourself. Yeah. Right. Okay. So if you have any questions about Mormonism and whatever, we can discuss that now.
I can't just go up there to Utah and go to their temple and just be like, hey, I'm thinking about being a Mormon, and just they won't let me into the place, right? I mean, right.
So the Mormons have churches, and you can go into their churches, but they also have temples, and you have to have a temple recommend, which means that you go to your bishop and you've been baptized as a member, and he asks you a series of very uncomfortable, nosy questions about your personal life, including your sexual activity, the way you wear your underwear, whether or not you believe in Joseph Smith and the translations and the Book of Mormon and all that junk that goes with Mormonism. And then he says, yes, you're worthy. And then you go to your stake president, who is the leader above him, do the same series of stupid questions, and then you can take this little card and go to the temple, and they'll let you in.
Wow. That's a process.
Yes, it is a process.
But you go through all that stuff, it just kind of makes you think that they're hiding stuff or whatever, but
well, they are hiding stuff, but I didn't realize it for a very long time because I was raised not to question it, because that's just what it is. You don't question your leaders. But I was born into it. I didn't know any different.
I think
And-
almost every that I can think of, I'm not every one of them, but most organized belief systems and religions don't want you to question or think
No.
outside the box and question everything about it. They just want you to
Uh-uh.
go along with what they
No,
say.
they don't want you to use critical thinking skills.
Yeah, because when you start to question it, then they have to go back and they have to present facts.
Oh yeah, and
more
the
proof and
the
evidence.
facts are not holding up at
Yeah.
all. They're
I
not.
don't know a lot about Joseph Smith. I mean, I watched some stuff on him, but
Okay.
like he was, you know, I know he done the translations and everything, but it wasn't like he was he like saying that he was godlike, or was that not a thing? Or like,
Okay, so he did not claim he was God, but
Okay.
he did say that that was it him or someone else. But
Like
in
a
the
it's in
church,
the-
we're taught that Joseph Smith no one did more for the world, for the salvation of people and of mankind than Joseph Smith saved Jesus, which is putting himself pretty dang high.
Yeah.
But you know, now that the internet's out and we're able to do research and like the documentation, the history of the church and the things that he did are on the internet, you can't believe what he said.
So is he compared to Moses, or is he like that? Like, were you?
You can't compare him to
Okay, so
Moses.
he
That's
called
not the
himself a
same belief
prophet.
system.
He called himself a prophet. Well, I believed in Moses.
Right.
Yeah.
So we had the Old Testament and the New Testament. He did put himself on par with Moses.
Okay.
Okay,
I
so
just don't know.
Samantha's saying, I need help not sucking others' energies. I've tried and still can't stop. They're draining within an hour or two around me. So you're pulling other people's energy into you. Okay.
Raising vibration,
That's interesting.
which can be
Yeah.
something to do with you. They come to you and you help them do that, huh?
Yeah. So if you're sucking other people's energy, okay, just clarify a little more for me, Samantha. Are you being drained, or are you taking their energy? If you're taking in their energy, wow, this actually I haven't encountered this one. Let me think about how you would handle that.
I think she means she sucks their energy.
Yeah, she's sucking theirs.
I can feel it now that I've like thought
Yeah,
about it. I
yeah.
can connect with it. Yeah.
Yeah, she's pulling energy.
And sometimes
Okay.
there's a lot to do with it.
So the
But
thought that just came into my mind is that you are not getting a fulfillment of your own energy, that your energy is too low, and because your energy is low, you're pulling in everyone else's energy to fill yourself up, and that's not the right way to do it. To fill your own energy up, you need to be doing your own personal self-care. And that means more than taking a bubble bath. That means really caring for your body, doing some self-loving things for okay, let me just
and she said at the end afterwards she's energized. So it's like she's taking hits off them, like energy hits off of people. I know what she's talking about too. I don't know how to
So it's
all
kind of normal when we're out and about and we're in a big group and everybody's excited and everybody's feeding off everybody else's vibe. That's normal. But if you're like in a smaller situation and it's, you're just talking and you're like sucking up everybody else's energy, there is something wrong. And you probably need to be looking deeper inside yourself and finding out what it is that isn't healing in you that's causing you to be the energy vampire. Does that make sense, Samantha? I hope it does.
That's interesting.
Like I have some thoughts, but I don't know how to word them.
I know you get them in and they come in as feelings.
What is it that would be making her that way? And it actually even could be an external source that's sucking the energy out of her. Like just for instance, she has a passed away loved one that was very, very low energy, or she lives in a house that she moved into that's got a very low energy vibration, and someone that might be, inhabiting that's not, viewable with the eyes. It's like a low vibe spirit or a low vibe entity, anomaly, whatnot. They could even be like sucking that from her
through
and
her.
then she's having to reach like, and grab from someone else to fill it back up, kind of.
Yeah, I would recommend that, Samantha, you hook up with someone who is a healer, someone who can be in tune with you and with the spirits around you to help you figure out what is going on. A session like this where we're just chatting about it,
Maybe
we're
like
not
a
gonna be able-
medium that's local to her that can actually come to
Mhm.
her,
Yeah.
talk to her one-on-one.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. For Adam says, for me, it's super easy, but I was told to get attuned. So yeah, it can be really easy. Everybody has access to what is called Reiki energy, which is just universal energy. It's just been given a fancy name by some guy in Japan like 100 and some odd years ago. So but once you get attuned, you do pick it up a whole lot easier. Yeah. I do too. I love the feeling. Cool.
Yeah.
I've told Mormons that show up at my door that I'm a Satanist. I do believe in the 7 tenets. Yeah, right. And it usually sends them running, right? Because they don't have a clue that the 7 tenets of Satanism are like good things. Mormons are like super naive.
That's funny.
You know,
I've
I
actually
just,
known some Jehovah Witnesses too that have like visited my house and stuff like that, and I've talked to them or whatever. And I think it's not like they choose to be naive. It's kind of like you said, like you didn't know all that stuff
Yeah,
that
they
was
don't know better.
behind the
Yeah,
curtain.
For the most part, Jehovah Witnesses and Mormons are like sister religions. They're both super controlling. They keep their members really naive, and then they send them out as missionaries to recruit more people to be part of their creepy cults.
I don't know what she means.
Okay, I was wondering why a block went up as soon as that comment was posted on the screen. Yeah, I didn't see that either, Bridget. I don't know what you're talking about.
I didn't see anything being blocked on here because I block the stuff myself, and I didn't block anything. If that's what she means, like an internet block, or do you mean energetic block?
yeah.
That makes sense. I know what I want.
I know what I thought, but I try not to use the term around people I don't know very well.
Which term?
we can't help you if you don't use the term because we don't know what you're talking about.
Hey, it's okay here. As long as you're not cursing or being indecent, you can use whatever spiritual terms you want to.
I did have an aunt that was like my mom, passed away, and I feel she's always around. Oh, there are ancestors who are like part of your spirit team that are always with you.
Hey, Michelle.
Energy.
Oh, that's what she's talking about. Okay, I thought that was what she was talking about. Wasn't sure. I guess when you go around talking about that, if you say that to people randomly on, like like that you're just having a normal conversation with, they might look at you kind of funny. Depends on where you live at and stuff. I can see that. I can understand that, Bridget. Hey, Michelle. I don't think there's a comment there. I think it's a blank box.
One thing about going back to the Mormon thing for a second, it's just that I don't really know a lot about them because they're so like themselves. So I don't know if I've really actually had a sit down conversation with somebody who's a Mormon. I mean, I don't think I have, but or a Jehovah Witness. Now, like she said, I've seen them come to my house and whatnot, but I was always nice to them when an asshole or nothing, but you just tell them about like, yeah, man, I'm not about that, whatever, have a good day. But I think it's when you step back from like Rosie was saying earlier, sort of about like all kinds of organized religions. If you don't consider yourself a part of one set, but it especially happens a lot too, I think, when we get older to understand more about like what those are about. So we're able to make up our own minds rather than somebody telling us this is how it is, kind of thing. But some people, like you were saying, just never break that kind of trance.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we never break it unless there's a reason to break it. I mean, some people, I've talked with a lot of ex-Mormons now that I've been out for a couple of years, and there are a lot of them who are like, yeah, I just never felt like I fit in or whatnot. But my parents just ingrained it so deep in.
Yeah.
And I married a Mormon man, and his family, it's like we go back generations in the Mormon church. And one of the things that's been really interesting is I've been doing my family energy healing for my ancestors,
Yeah.
is how many of them actually accept it, because they don't accept it here now. I only have
Yeah.
one family member. No, that's not right. Two. I have two family members out of probably 100 who live near me, because Mormon families are massive, who would even come
Yeah.
to me for energy work,
Oh yeah.
because it's discouraged.
Yeah.
It's this kind of work, they want it done through their priesthood holders, which means the men.
Oh yeah.
Very patriarchal. And as I was leaving the church, I was like, I don't think priesthood blessings work, because if you look at the statistics in Utah versus the rest of the world, because Utah's where we're very predominantly Mormon, everybody still is sick and we have as much cancer. Everybody dies as much, but we get these blessings from our priesthood leaders that are like, we promise you'll be healed. And it doesn't happen.
I gotcha. So they don't do they consider it like kind of what you do at all? Do they consider it like witchy, or do they would you say that?
Yeah. What I would be called a witch. I would be into witchcraft, or it's really funny, because a lot of the stuff that they do now, I can look at it and go, oh, that's witchcraft. Oh, that's witchcraft. But to them, it's not. It's sacred. I'm like, okay.
I had a really good friend that was a Mormon, and I went to school with her for a couple of years. And she was always like, because I was like, like you are, like a very open-minded person or whatnot. And I went to several different churches of it, like almost every different religion you can think of, and studied every different belief system you could think of. And she just like really clicked and connected with me. And she said that she was a Mormon, and she was raised a Mormon, and her husband was also, but that she didn't believe a lot of the stuff, or she didn't condone, I guess, and agree with a lot of this stuff. But because her parents were so like just very, very adamant that, and had raised her so strictly to follow it, that it was hard for her to ever actually step outside of anything that she wasn't told by them.
The more I'm being more open-minded about it, the more I'm going, wait a minute, why did I believe that then? That's stupid. Like, they're very racist.
Yeah.
And they're very anti-LGBTQ. And that was a huge thing for me, because I have 3 kids.
Mm-hmm.
All 3 of them are on the LGBTQ community somewhere.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And one of them is married to an LGBTQ guy, and they're in a poly relationship with a trans. And so between my 3 kids, I've got 3 in-laws. And so of them, 5 of them are on the LGBTQ.
Yeah.
And so like out in my yard, I've got, the straight alliance flag, and my parents were over the other day and they were scowling at it as they walked past. And I'm like, whatever. But as a mom, I have to be an ally to the LGBTQ with my kids, or I would have no relationship with my kids. That's just.
Yeah. I also have a friend that was engaged to a woman, and she said her parents disowned her as soon as they found out.
Yeah.
But they weren't even good parents. So I talked to her, and I was like, they weren't even good parents. They didn't even take care of you and protect you and raise you properly to say that they were whatever better than belief system. I was like, so I wouldn't even pay any mind to them disowning you because of you have a different choice than they would have made for you, because they didn't even make the choices that they were choking down your throat. They didn't even follow those choices. They were just basically being a hypocrite. So.
Right. And once you leave that family, you get to choose who your family is. And then you get to choose the people who do support you and who do believe the same ways that you believe. And your community just becomes so much better. So Amelia is asking, does it help to wear a Reiki necklace? So are you asking, does it help to bring in more energy if you wear a Reiki necklace? I'm not exactly sure what you're asking, what it helps, but
and then she said with the stones.
With the stones. Okay, so wearing any jewelry with crystals is going to help if you believe it's going to help. So I'm going to tell you that I teach about crystals. I love crystals. I use crystals in my own daily practice. but there is not very much science behind it. And because I went through this huge faith transition going, wait a minute, there's no science that backs up anything that Joseph Smith taught us. There's science that disproves it. So I have to be careful with my own personal beliefs that I want science behind it. So the only science I have found behind crystals is that it works as a placebo. And I'll take a placebo if I know it's going to help. So I know my crystals help. I believe in the placebo effect of crystals. It can be just that it's a touch point to remind me of the intention that I want to use with the crystals. So when you're wearing a chakra set, which I'm assuming is what you're talking about with a Reiki set, that it has the 7 stones with the rainbow of colors through it, it is going to help all of your chakras. Each one of those stones matches a color of your chakra. So just like my flag here, you have each one of those colors, and each one of those colors vibrates. So here's some science with it that I do believe in. Okay, so way back when you took physics in high school, you learned about color vibration. So each color has its own wavelength. You see it, it's a wavelength. And each one of our chakras vibrates at a wavelength. And the wavelength matches the color wavelength of the chakra. So if your chakra is out of alignment and you bring in that color, what happens in physics is that something vibrating will make the other something match its vibration. So that is why I believe in crystals and why I believe in color healing. Because there is some science there.
That's a great answer when you can answer the question with actual facts of
right
things are. Yeah. So, we've run across some like Reiki masters and stuff that I'm just curious. I've never really asked anybody, but like, when was it, when it first came about? Like, I was just curious.
Oh, off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you exactly, but I'm thinking it was the mid to late 1800s. So it's been around for like 150 years or so. And how it happened was Mr. Usui went up to a mountain and fasted for, I don't remember exactly how many days. And while he was up doing fasting and meditation, spirits came to him and told him about meditation, or about Reiki through the meditation. And that's how it came about.
Okay.
Was this individual sober? No, I'm just kidding. I feel like that's the first question.
I have wondered some things too about that.
I feel like that's the first thing that a collective society would ask somebody when they're presenting this to like.
Yeah, was he sober? Yeah.
Yeah.
So does that match does that match any kind of like Native American things, or do you know?
I don't know. I haven't dug into enough of Native American stuff yet. I really am interested in it and I want to learn more about it, partially because the Book of Mormon claimed, originally, they've changed it now, but Joseph Smith claimed that it was the history of the ancient American people. And so as I was being brought up with this stories in the Book of Mormon, they were supposed to be stories about the indigenous people in the United States and in South America, North America. And it has been proven that it's wrong, that it's not, through DNA. So Joseph Smith claimed that the people who lived in the Americas came from and are descendants from Lehi, who left Jerusalem in the Middle East, traveled by boat to the American continent. Now, what's happened is that as we have developed DNA processes in science, is they've discovered that most of the Native Americans, most of the people who live in South America and the Indians and they've come from Mongolia. They've come from that part of Asia. So there's no DNA evidence to back up. But because I was brought up with that, I am interested in finding out what really are the traditions and what really is the religion and what is the spiritual, because there's so much They
Yeah.
are so spiritual. If they go back into their histories, you know, they are very spiritual people, and it would be really cool to learn more about them. And that was kind of how I ended up falling down the rabbit hole and leaving my church. Was I had Googled the LDS Church and shamanism, because I had been to a retreat and a shaman had come and we did a drum circle, and it was really cool. And I was like, I want more of this in my life. Does it mesh? And it turns out that Joseph and his first wife, Emma, had used some shamanistic practices in their lives. And then it talked more about their lives. And I went, wait a minute, that's not what I was told.
What do they call it then? So that it would fit what they were teaching or whatever. Do they call it something else? Or
oh no, it's whitewashed completely out of the Mormon doctrine now. They don't teach it.
Kind of like the Enoch books taken out of most versions of the Bible and separated.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's like with the Bible. You know, the Bible was written. The first book of the New Testament that was actually recorded is Mark. And it was written down 60 years after Christ passed away. And then the other four of the main, you know, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, they were written later over a series of hundreds of years. And so as I'm going through my faith transition, I'll tell you, I've come out of this atheist. I don't believe in Jesus anymore. I believe Jesus might have been a real person, and he might have been a really cool energy healer, and he might have taught some really cool stuff. But when you think about it, that long ago, things were not written down on a regular basis. And if you waited until 60 years after Christ died to write it down, and you lived during Christ's lifetime, that means you're somewhere between 70 and 90 years old.
Yeah, it got
what is
diluted,
that
probably.
kind of person's memory like?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you can dream something and you wake up and you're like, man, I remember this dream. I'm going to go tell people, and then you forgot it an hour later.
Right. And then if it wasn't someone who lived during Christ's time, he heard it through oral stories over his lifetime. And like, remember the telephone game you played in elementary school where you whisper something in somebody's ear, and by the time it gets around the classroom, it's something completely different? It's like, how could they have written down an actual history of Christ's life? I can't see it. It's not there. So it was written down from my opinion. So I had a seminary teacher in high school. So for those who don't know what seminary is, in the Mormon church, from 9th grade to 12th grade, you take a class and it's called seminary, and you learn about scripture. You learn about doctrine. And I had a seminary teacher who would go stand in the corner and I'd say, okay, this is the gospel according to me. So this is what I'm going to say now. This is the gospel according to me. It was written down politically. It's not gospel. The whole Bible is a political shit show.
Yeah, I was reading the comment about the Catholicism, Roman Catholic, and I know someone that is Catholic, and he believes like basically that everything he does when he steps his foot outside of his door is damning him to hell. And I'm like, that's not true. That's not true. Yeah, and he's like, well, that's the way I was raised, very strictly by his grandma. And I'm like, but you have to go and you have to cross-check that. And does it resonate with your soul? Does it feel right to you? Does it like...
There are some things that were written down and as scripture and law back in, like, you know, they were not supposed to eat pork because they didn't have the refrigeration to keep the pork from being nasty. So is it still a sin to eat pork now? No, it's not. We have a refrigeration system.
I didn't really know that had a lot to do with why.
Yeah, that's why. And the same sort of thing happened with Mormonism. So in Mormonism, there's what is called the word of wisdom. And that's why Mormons don't drink coffee. They don't drink tea. They don't do drugs. They don't drink alcohol. And it all comes from this word of wisdom, which was created by Joseph Smith based on things that were happening in the 1830s to 1850s in America. You ate a lot of wheat, a lot of grains, because they were available. You didn't eat
Yeah.
a lot of meat because it wasn't available, or it wasn't healthy because it was too hot and it was rotting. So a lot of that was created then. And I'm not exactly sure why he came up with the coffee, tea, and alcohol shit, because I've heard rumors, and I don't know that they're true, but it was like vindictive things between him and his wife as to why those were put together. But I don't know. Okay, Bridget,
Go
did you
ahead.
have a question?
I was just going to say, I would come closer to understanding the alcohol part just because it makes you out of your normal sober
it
frame
does.
of mind, like to the point of being impaired if you have enough of it. But coffee and tea, I've seen
Yeah.
people with some jitters, but I've never seen anyone completely not know what they're doing and wake up the next
Right.
day and they've lost
Right.
their wallet and their keys because they had too much coffee.
Right. Alcohol
tea.
can really be bad for you.
Yeah.
But okay, so Bridget says being part of the LGBTQ plus community is one of the reasons my family won't talk to me. My oldest is pansexual, my second oldest is bi, and I'm poly. Husband is mono. My house will always be spiritual and a lifestyle safe place. I love that, Bridget. I love that your home will always be a safe place, and that's where I'm at now too. When my daughter first came to me and said, "Mom, I want to be a guy," I was still in the Mormon church, but I'd been in a place where my kids had left the church many years before I did. And I had learned years before that I had to let my kids be who they were going to be and not force my religion upon them, or I was going to lose my kids. So when she came to me and said, "I want to be a he," I okay, that you be you. And I had to let it, and I had to deal with all of the hurt and the pain that went with that myself. And that's been, I don't know, 4 years now since she came to me. And I do still struggle with calling my little girl a he, but I try. I do try. And I do use their preferred name. But it's hard. My parents are very against it. But
I comments.
I love that you're doing that for your kids, Bridget. I was raised with a mix of indigenous native beliefs and Catholicism, Christianity. Mostly I was allowed to explore my own beliefs, which I'm very thankful for. Yeah, that is a blessing. That's a huge blessing, Kate, that you were able to explore and learn new things. What's up, everyone? Showing love to my food.
Howard.
Oh,
no, what did I do?
I love these guys. They're awesome.
I went off the screen. Okay, I was like, I blacked myself out. Whoops.
So Howard.
Howard, Howie D. I'm gonna start calling Howie D. And there was Bridget had a comment.
My oldest just asked me if she had been part of a certain faith to make me happy, if she had to be part. I told her no. Right.
I was like, what was that?
Hello?
Me too. I was like,
oh, thank you. My husband's bringing me food.
That's okay. It made me think that, like, I don't know, there was a spirit knocking, I guess. I'm just so used to stuff like that happen. And I was like, is it a spirit?
That's funny.
No, that was just my awesome husband bringing me food. What is the topic? We've kind of been all over the place, Donna, but we've been talking
like the topic was chosen to be some kind of healing, like different kinds of healing.
So I'm an energy healer. I'm an energy healer. I use Reiki and emotion clearing to help people heal their past. And I learned how to do this as I went through my faith transition from Mormonism to spirituality. So we'll answer questions on anything Mormon related or spirituality or
crystals, energy.
Yeah. And I learned after leaving the church and becoming an energy healer that I'm also a medium and I can talk to spirits. And I have the easiest connection with ancestors.
Howard be thy name.
Thank you, Adam.
So do you actually do you teach Reiki at all to anybody?
I have not yet, but I will. I will be
Mhm.
teaching.
Yeah.
I would love to teach. I
That'd be
sort of did
awesome.
some teaching with one of my kids, and they got bored and they left. But you know, that's what kids do when mom's teaching, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I was just curious.
I don't know. I
I
think
figured
so.
somebody's gonna ask, you know, see if you were gonna teach like an online class or something.
Yeah, I will be teaching it through an online class. I do currently have a Facebook group, and it's named Jessica's Free Group, so it's kind of easy to find.
Ah,
But the title when you get there is Chakras, Crystals, and Reiki, and I teach about how to work with your chakras, how do you work with crystals, and then I do Reiki. So I take clients and I work with them one-on-one, and we do energy healing and emotion clearing and talk to their ancestors. Kate says, "Ooh, I'd love to be able to connect to ancestors. Most of my family sadly passed on, some I never met." Yeah, a lot of us have that. I mean, if you really look at the how long the earth has been around and how long man has been around, we all have ancestors that go way back, and they didn't know anything about healing their own energy. At least for chunks of time they didn't. I know that there are time periods where they did.
yeah. And then it just kind of it faded away, I guess.
Or the patriarchy came in and stomped on it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
So if
also
you
feel like division has caused a lot of that segregation,
Yes.
division,
Mm-hmm.
people pushing someone into a type, like a group or
Yes.
a belief, and just making it that way where it
Yes.
doesn't have to actually be that way, but we do it anyways.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you were going to do a session with somebody, what'd you say? How long that would last? I mean, would it be like an hour or
So
so?
a session typically lasts an hour.
Hmm.
And I usually start with Reiki for about 20 minutes where I do a scan of their bodies, and I check each of their chakras and kind of help bring them back into alignment. And then I will ask their body where they need to be healing. And I will work through healing emotions that are stuck in their bodies. So are you familiar with emotion code?
Hmm. I don't know. Rosie might. I don't know.
I think I know what you mean, but I don't know it being called
Okay.
emotion code.
So I was working with another healer, and she had this list from the emotion code where it had all these emotions on it, and you like did this muscle testing to figure out which emotions were stuck where in your body. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, that's a ridiculously long time to figure out what's going on in your body. So I took all of it and I threw it into a pendulum chart.
Yeah.
And then I added more negative energy or negative emotions to it because it was limited. And so I've got this chart, and it's not on my desk, so I can't pull it out and just show it to you. But I've got this chart with a ton of emotions on it. And I just use my pendulum and I ask, okay, what emotions do we need to clear? What's stuck in their body? And the emotions will come, and I'll tell them what the emotion is. They tell me what their opposite of that emotion is. We do some breath work and it clears it out. Sometimes we need to talk about it. And so I'll do some coaching. I'll ask them, do you know why it's there? Do you know what's gone on in your life? And we'll discuss ways that they can release it. So, like, if it was from their early childhood, we can do a child regression type healing. Sometimes we get emotions that are stuck in our bodies that we pick up from other people. So, we all have an aura. And if you're standing next to someone who's having really powerful, nasty emotions, your auras can intersect, and you can pick up those emotions, and they get stuck in your aura, and sometimes they get stuck in your body. And they're really easy to release, but you just have to know that they're there to find them and let them go. So I help you release those ones. You bring emotions with you into this world from past lives. You bring them from your ancestors. They come in your DNA. And that's how I find those ones where we're working on your ancestors, is you've inherited them. It's just like you inherit your eye color from your ancestors. You can inherit their trauma. And that's why we get these trauma patterns that run through generation to generation of people. And so if you start healing that and you find that trauma and you heal it, you can heal it for the whole family line.
And sometimes you're that person, like you are that person in your
Yeah.
family. You're
Yeah.
the one that
I'm
broke the
one who's
mold, that
I'm
crashed
breaking the
down and
mold
shook
and I'm
it up,
crashing it
and
down and I'm
the
peeling it for
tower
everybody.
moment. That's what I call it. Like you were the tower moment in your family. You shook everything up and questioned, and you were able to reprogram or cleanse the slate and start
Yep.
over without being programmed by what you were programmed most of your life.
So are you saying like since like the beginning of like our line, it travels from there to
Yep.
up to where you're at now?
Yeah. Yeah. So far I've only gone back like 19 generations. I think that's the furthest back I've gone on anyone. So as I'm doing it, I'll ask, who did this belong to? And I'll ask if it was a male or a female, if it was on their mom's side or their dad's side, how many generations back it was. And frequently it's just a few generations back. But every now and then I'll get one that's way back, like 19 generations. If you think that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
That is a really long time ago. And it's just followed through. I'm a sensitive empath medium healer. I want to learn Reiki. Yeah, do it. Learn Reiki. Yeah.
And she said,
Wow.
"Oh wow, I want
It
to
might
shake
be-
up my family for sure."
Yes. Shake that tree.
Huh.
You should.
That's interesting. I've never really thought about that kind of stuff before.
I tell you this stuff all the time on our long drives. Well, he'll say something, and I'm just like, no, that's like narrow-minded. You need to think like this or this or this, and that's basically, without explaining it like you did, what I'm saying. Like, you've been programmed.
So
You
when
are
I first heard
programmed.
about ancestral healing, the gal who taught it to me said that it's 7 generations back, 7 generations forward. But I can tell you from experience, it goes further. It goes way further. You can heal so far back, and you can heal the people that are close to you. And so I don't work on anyone without their permission.
Sorry.
So like, I don't have a tree. It's more like a bush or a shrub. Oh yeah. You're funny, Howard. So as I have been healing myself, I'm seeing healing in my oldest daughter. So
yeah, that's good.
My middle daughter is the one that is trans, but my oldest daughter, she was born with like every mental illness except for like psychosis. Yeah. She's like been diagnosed with bipolar, ADHD, oppositional defiance disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, pervasive developmental delay disorder. All of them have these 3
I have a question
acronyms,
then.
right? And so I called her my alphabet soup kid. And she's almost 25 now, and it has been amazing. So I've been doing this for 2 years, working on myself. Occasionally I'll help work on her, and I'll answer her questions, and she's watching and following what I'm doing. And it's been really cool to see her heal as I heal.
Yeah.
And so it does help. So even though I'm not always working on her, I can see how it's affecting her. Yeah. And I don't do a ton of work on my husband, but I can see how it affects him as well. So
is that something you'd work on that could like wean her off of like meds she's on, or is like
I've weaned myself off meds, and she's weaned herself off meds. So I have Crohn's disease. I don't take any of that scary shit anymore that goes with that. So like the medication they put you on for that is immune system modulators, just like they give you with cancer.
Oh.
And I didn't realize how scary it was till I went in for my hysterectomy, and they were making the nurses double glove and double gown to come into my room because the stuff they had me on was so toxic.
Oh, wow.
And so when I started learning about energy healing and how you can heal your body yourself and how mindset makes a big difference, I was like, no way, I'm not doing this. So like I gained fibromyalgia from the meds I was taking for my Crohn's disease. And I treat those symptoms as well with
it's so much more common now. Fibromyalgia is so common now.
So much more common.
I've never seen in the last few years.
And I believe it's an emotional stress response in our bodies.
Yeah, I think it is too.
And if we can clear out that emotional garbage in our bodies, I've read, and I haven't seen any science backing this, so I'm just going to put that out there as a disclaimer. But I've read that 50% of your pain in your body is emotional.
Yeah.
And so that's the stuff that I have.
And the rest of
have
it, I guess, would
through.
be a lot of it mental.
Well,
A lot
like
of it is.
mental. It's also is like, but like there's
Mhm.
things that are physical, like you just
Yeah,
sprained your
yeah.
ankle. But
Or
when
how
you do,
we treat ourselves if we don't
yeah,
take care of ourselves,
yeah,
a lot of it has to do with
yeah.
that too.
So
Yeah.
between your diet
Hmm.
and emotional and a mental, physical healing through energy healing. So energy healing, Reiki works on physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. So you can heal on all 4 of those levels in your body. So if you do that, plus you're doing a good, healthy diet, which I'm not exactly 100% sure what that really means for anybody yet, because there's so much garbage out there. But if you're eating healthy and you're doing your energy work, you can be very healthy and you can not have to deal with any pain, and you don't have to deal with being on all sorts of prescriptions, and you can heal a lot of stuff.
Is that going back like to your ancestors, what you're talking about earlier, is like healing their pain? Does that also contribute to like physical pain if they were like killed and like if they're shot or something that just trickles down, or is that?
Yeah.
It could probably, because even they say in reincarnation, if somebody, just say you're like I don't know, like your third uncle twice removed was shot and he was reincarnated after he passed on into another body, and they supposedly can feel the symptoms of that. I don't know if you believe in reincarnation. I feel like you probably do, but they say that you can feel that, like it's that strong of a thing that happened to them, that when that spirit's reincarnated, that they even sometimes have a wound, a birthmark, a scar, an
Yeah, I've heard
unexplained
that too. And
symptom or
it's
fear.
one of those things where I want to know. I want to know if that's real or not, but I
I do
don't.
too.
I
It
don't
would
know.
be awesome if it
It would be
would be
awesome if we
healed.
could prove it, but it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I think I could believe that.
I do believe it. I absolutely believe it.
I always heard that about birthmarks. That's where you were killed in your last life, how you died.
Yeah.
I was like, well, mine's on my neck, so I wonder how that happened.
Stabbed, arrow, something.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
I have
And
one
if
on the
that's
back
what
of
it
my
is,
neck.
I don't know, because I don't have any birthmarks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Some irrational fears that you have in this lifetime are also linked to when you believe, about reincarnation, that in your last life that you died a certain way or something happened to you, that it would, like, just say you were a witch and you were hanged to death, and you were, back in that era, and they just said, hey, they were all tripping out on black mold, and they said, hey, she's a witch. She put, spells on us, and they hung and killed that person. And then in this life, you're scared to death to ever break outside of a mold of Christianity. This is just an example.
Right.
You're always, just pretending basically to be a certain belief system because you're scared to death and you don't know irrationally why you have that fear. It could be because, you did step outside of that belief, or you were accused of it even though you didn't.
Right. You can bring trauma from your past lives into this life.
I mean, it's pretty interesting. You got, like, I don't know if you've watched the shows where you got little kids that are like 5 years old recounting that they're fighter pilots or whatever,
Yeah.
Right. There was a documentary on that. I did watch that. And that was pretty cool.
It's interesting because if that's the case, you lose that as you get older. Like, why can't we recount that now? But as you're little, I mean, I don't know.
Donna says, I found one of my guides, a very strong French woman from the 1900s, and a pharmacist. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah.
Someone had asked a question. I'm just going to address it, like, just so that we're not totally ignoring Loanna. This isn't really like a spiritual connection show. Like, if you ever wanted to, like, connect to your loved one and you want to private message me or something, I'll try to help you with that if I can. But on this show, like, that's not really what exactly, like, I'm
not in this show.
what we're doing,
really. If you wanted to connect with Rosie, or if you want to connect with me,
privately.
We can privately.
It might take a lot more than just like we have 30 minutes.
There's way too many energies right now mixing, because everybody who's watching the show's energy is kind of playing into the show.
Yes.
Yeah. So we can't do that in this kind of a setting.
Yeah, we read that comment.
No.
I know nothing about my guides. I've been doing meditation for the past several months, but nothing, just some weird nonsense, dreams, LOL. So
It
just
might not be nonsense.
keep meditating, and you're going to start seeing some patterns.
Mm-hmm.
As you do
Sorry.
your meditations, patterns can come up, and your guides won't show you who they are until you're ready for it. And so you may not
I
be
agree
ready.
with that too.
You may not be ready to know who your guides are yet, but it's also, if you're very specific and you say, I want to know who you are, and directly ask them, they may answer. So it's just, if you're ready, they'll tell you. But so, because in my experience, I've guided people to find their animal spirits, their animal guides. And I've had people, so like I did it for a group of women, and there were some in the group who they met like multiple animal guides, and it was really cool experience for them. And then there were others who didn't meet anyone. There were no guides there for them. So that one person probably wasn't ready to meet
I
her
was just
guide,
thinking of her. Hey, Pamela.
or maybe she didn't have one. So it's different. But I do strongly believe that every one of us has a guide. And if not like another spirit, you have your higher self. Your higher self is there to guide you always, and that's the one you can trust.
And that's who you'll tap into the most, probably, even though you might not identify it as being that, and you're not seeing another guide. Maybe she's meditating and tapping into her higher self first. Does that make sense? Like instead of other things, maybe like that's what her stepping stone is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Rosie would always tell you too. You talk about your dreams, but keep a dream journal, and that's pretty important, I guess. I mean, I don't know.
It's super important. Like, I don't know how many times I've gone back and read a dream that I thought was crazy or nonsense.
And then it makes sense.
And then I was like, holy moly, that actually happened. Like, this was like almost like I had a psychic dream or something, and it just actually played out in my life.
Right.
You're welcome, Loanna. And Howard said, oh, Lord, not my energy. Y'all don't need all that nonsense.
You're here.
Funny.
You're here. We're getting some of your energy. Doesn't matter. We get to play with you.
We welcome all energy, even nonsense energy. Hey, Pamela. I would say, though, Kate, that if you wanted to work with somebody, to contact either Pamela or contact, I don't know why I can't think of your name all of a sudden.
Jessica.
I don't know why I wanted to say an L word, like this L word, just this
my
prominent
last name
L.
is Lloyd.
Oh, that's why I was just like seeing an L in my head, like an L over and over and over again. I was going to say L.
Kate, if you want to learn about your guides, I'd be happy to take you through a guided meditation.
That makes sense.
Sometimes doing a guided meditation where you're directed to find something in specific, it can bring you that specific thing you want. Where sometimes you just go into a meditation and you have no specific thing holding you to what you're doing. Your thoughts can go all over the place. The ideas that pop into your head can be from all sorts of. So I do really like guided meditation for that purpose, to find your guides.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I don't know. I feel like that L popped in my mind, and it was like when you're connecting with a spirit and they're taking over and they're telling you something and you can't control it and you can't do anything else because they're like really like adamantly trying to give you a message. And I feel like that L, and I'm like, I wonder if it was because Loanna asked about her grandmother.
Could be.
I think that it might have been because I just was seeing L and I was trying to make out anything other than that, and I was like,
yeah,
what else? What else, spirit? What else? Just an L.
Yeah, she should contact y'all then, for sure.
Yeah, because I think that because she asked for it. Oh my gosh, that's weird, because I thought I saw the name Laura or Linda, and there's a Laura now in the chat room, and she wasn't there before. My spirit animal has rabies, oh Lord Jesus.
You're funny, Howard.
I was saying, though, Kate, to contact Jessica or Pamela, and not like someone that you barely know anything about. Like, I would recommend them, because if you contact someone that you really don't know a lot about, I've actually done this myself in the beginning of my spiritual journey. That's the only reason I'm saying this. Don't go outside of people that have a good reputation to try to contact your spirit guides because you might get mixed up in some bad stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's some weird shit out there.
Please.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
go
and
with
people
someone that you
and
know
people.
and trust. There's people who are like who will manipulate you and they'll
And she
tell
kind
you
of looks
all
like a
sorts
young,
of
pretty girl, and I think that somebody might be like, "Oh yeah, I want to act like I can help her just because."
right.
And I don't know what I'm talking about, you know. So
Right.
yeah, reach out to Pamela, which is in the chat, or reach out to Jessica, which we're interviewing right now. If you want help with that, please.
Yeah. So Howard's spirit animal's not a gator? What's going on with that?
My husband and I really want to learn about our guides. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool learning about your guides. It's nice to kind of have a name or an image so that when you want to talk to them and specifically ask your guides questions, to have a way to contact them specifically. And so it is cool to know who your guides are. So.
Sorry, I'm trying to look for a notebook.
I
I
hear
have to write Luana's name down because I'm like, something's hijacking my brain, and it wants to talk to her. So
I don't know a lot about that stuff, obviously, like y'all do. But I know that I've heard some people talk about spirit guides that they won't ever tell you their name or like who they are. Is that true? Like they just they
no, that's
won't.
not true.
No, your spirit guides will tell you their names.
Yeah.
If they don't, I would actually be concerned. Maybe.
Yeah, if they don't tell you who they are, I would be concerned. I would be concerned because there are spirits out there who are like they're not there for your good.
Yeah.
So you know you want to make sure that you've connected to a spirit that has your best intentions, a spirit that cares about you.
Yeah, of course. No.
It's like you don't want to be connected to, you don't want like Loki to be.
No, you
your
want someone that's
spirit
going to guide
guide.
you to your highest purpose and your
Right.
higher good,
Right.
not off of the path that you need to be on. Which is kind of what happened to me in the very beginning, and it was not pretty. And that was Pamela. I don't know. She said she's in a different feed than we are. So, but on Facebook, that's her name. And then at the end, we'll get Jessica's information. I'll post it in the comments for you, Miss Walker, and you can look at it, Kate, at the end of the show if you want to go back and look or stay on until then, and I'll post her information.
Yeah.
That's weird to hear Miss Walker.
I know. I was like, he probably thought that sounded weird.
Yes, I think that's
His
what
last
holds me
name's
back
Walker.
with guided meditation, finding someone to trust to be in that open state. Like some of the videos on YouTube. Oh yeah. The videos on YouTube,
They might not be from the
they're
greatest
not
person.
all created from people who are genuinely interested in helping you. There are some people out there who are doing it just to make money. There are some people out there who are doing it to put their agenda across. So you have to be careful. I do love a lot of the meditations on YouTube. I will say that. But if you're finding one and it's giving you dark dreams, don't go back. You know, if you're finding one and it's giving you weird vibes, switch.
Or at least you're going to need more to know than what you're seeing in the video. If there's some kind of surfacing dark dream, then you need to work with someone like either Jessica or Pamela so they can figure out why you're having the dark dream after you're watching that video. Like what's happening that's like making you have this dark dream.
Clear that energy out of your aura, clear it out of your chakras, and it'll help.
Oh. Hey, Greg. How's it going? He's a paranormal enthusiast. He has a podcast too, and he watches a lot of our shows.
Cool.
Yeah, she said go by how you feel from it. And Pamela doesn't do the same thing you do. She does hypnotherapy. So, but she tries to work with people on past life regression, I believe.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I would like to learn more about past life regressions. Because I get little snippets here and there, but I'd like to know more. And when I'm helping people, I get little snippets, and I'd definitely like to know. But she's right. Exactly. Go by how you feel from it. You can feel that energy. You can feel if it's good or if it's not. Use your judgment.
I think if it gives you nightmares, it might not be like the best perfect match for her, though.
Yeah. That's what I wonder. If something's in me already, I need to work on it, or if it's some of those videos. It could be either something that's already in you that needs to be cleared out, or it could be stuff that's being brought in by the videos. So it's until you actually start doing like your shadow work or working on healing yourself, healing your trauma. So
Here's a long one.
Rosie has developed her gift and has impressed me very much. She did a reading for me and hit on all levels. It was like she knew everything, including when I go to the restroom. Rosie, don't follow me.
I think everyone knows when he goes to the restroom. He probably takes a live video when he's in there. That's so funny. He brings the laughs.
Yeah, he's entertaining.
Everyone
Yep.
has their job, you know.
Uh-huh.
And some people are clowns.
Sure.
Yep. Also, if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. She does all kinds of healing. For people that just joined, do you want to just like give a tiny rundown about what kinds of healing and stuff that you do? Because I know
Okay.
Greg just joined and
So I do Reiki. I'm a crystal Reiki master. I do emotional clearing. So I help you find and remove emotions that are stuck in your body. They get stuck in your body 4 different ways. From emotions that you did not process yourself and you stuffed down, emotions that you picked up from other people that were around you, emotions you inherited from your ancestors, and emotions that you brought into this experience from previous experiences. So if you believe in past lives, or if you believe in a premortal existence or whatever, you bring some trauma into this world with you, and we clear all of those out. And while we're doing that, we do ancestral healing, and we clear the energy for your ancestors and help them heal their world so that they can continue whatever path they're doing now on the other side. So I do a little coaching with it, a little kicking my desk, and it made my video shake. Yeah, so sometimes we'll do like meditations, we'll do breath work, and I do a lot of educating on chakras, how to use your chakras, how to tap into your chakras and heal them. So that's what I do.
I would be interested in something about that because I've like studied it, but I don't have the time to actually like gather everything that you do, you know, like to do the chakra healing. I know meditation is like the beginning of it, but I don't know past that for each specific chakra. I don't know really what you do for that chakra, like whichever one you have blocked, like what you do to remove that blockage.
Right. So you can do similar things to unblock each one of your chakras. So on the surface level, there's all the things like the colors, or using the crystals, or you can use different tones in music. So when you're doing like a sound bowl healing, it's the same vibration thing that we talked about earlier. When something vibrates, it brings into alignment other vibrations. And that can help bring it in. But those things to me are all on the superficial level. Those things can help you short term. To help you in the long term, you really need to dig in and figure out the trauma and heal the trauma.
Yeah.
And each chakra is kind of in charge of different trauma. So we do hold these emotions in our bodies throughout everywhere. But in your chakras, like your crown chakra, that is attaching you to your higher power, your higher self, inspiration. So if you've had like religious trauma, it's going to show up possibly here.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Your third eye chakra is it's where all the clairsenses are. It's where intuition is. It's where a lot of empathy is, where empaths are like in here. Oh yeah, showering, awesome. Using water to cleanse your aura and your chakras, it's really good.
I do that sometimes too, and I can envision.
Envision it's cleaning.
The funkiness is just going down the drain, you know, like it's starting over, it's clean.
Water is super healing. So like I was saying, in your third eye, so like if you've were as a child, you could see spirits or hear voices or whatever, and your parents like squished it all down. You need to heal that. Because, parents do that. They're like freaked out when their kids like, oh, I see the ghost of the kid who lived next door, whatever, you know.
Or I see a shadow figure hovering over me at night, Daddy.
Right, right. And
And they're
so,
like, no, you don't. No,
yeah,
you
you
don't.
may
It's
need to
your
heal that.
imagination.
Or like if you've been brought up in a religion like I was, where it was like, you're allowed to hear the Holy Ghost, but nothing else.
Mm.
And so,
Yeah, I can see that too. Like when you were saying, kind of like the spiritual spiritual blockage, maybe
yeah, so
spiritual
all of that
trauma,
can be
spiritual
blocked, and
blockage.
you can heal that through there. Your throat chakra is about speaking your truth. And so I know that I've been working to clear out my throat chakra because I feel like I have to hold back a lot of my truth now because most of my community is still members of this church and they don't want to know what I have to say.
Mm.
And so I have to keep my throat chakra clear because I hold back.
Yeah.
So like I can talk about it to you guys. I can share it with the internet. No big deal. But I have cleared like all of my old friends off of my Facebook because I don't want to deal with their snubbing me.
I've cleared quite a few out in the last 2 years. They're gone, and then some of them not exactly completely clearing them out, but not allowing the access that I allowed before. I guess it's like I'm more I'm less available now. Like I can't be taken advantage of as much as I used to be.
Yeah, this is learning your boundaries.
Yeah.
Boundaries is a big one in your heart chakra.
Yeah. And I really never believed in doing that. I just always was such a, I don't know what the word you'd describe it as, but like tender hearted. I don't know. It's like I would just never put up boundaries. I would just
you wanted to take on and help everybody. And you have to put up boundaries. And so, and then like your solar plexus, which is about your abdomen, that is like your self-worth, your knowledge of who you are, what your truth is, that all resides in there. And so I've worked with one person who has probably multiple personality disorder, whatever they're calling that these days. Mm-hmm. And their solar plexus is a mess. They don't know who they are because they've got all this confliction going on in their body. And healing that will help them find who they are.
I can see that.
The orange chakra, the one that is below your belly button, it is where your creativity and your sexual power are. So if your creativity is shot, you're sexual.
Sacral? Is that the one you're talking about? The sacral chakra?
Yes, the sacral chakra. Yeah. That's so creating children is like a huge form of creation, right? So that is creativity. That all resides there. So if your sex drive is having issues, if you're having like you're having writer's block or you can't think of anything creative, and I'm not talking like you don't have to be like a sculpture or being an artist to be creative. We all have ways that we're creative. We are creative beings. But if you're having a hard time being creative, you can look at that chakra and see what needs to be healed there. And then there's your root chakra. And let's see if I can pronounce this. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The triangle of needs, where at the bottom you've got like the clothing and shelter and food and water. That's like your root chakra. If you don't have the basic needs of life, you're not going to feel safe. You're not going to feel secure. You're not going to be able to connect to your community. And so if you're having issues in those parts of your life, they're going to be residing in your root chakra. And you know, when COVID hit and the whole world shut down, like everybody's root chakra went nuts.
And I noticed a lot of, this is going to sound dark or morbid, and I don't mean it to. I just psychoanalyze everything that I've noticed in the last several years with the COVID thing. that people take their transgressions and their urges and their things out more when they're stuck inside, and it's spiked
Oh
up
yeah.
in like criminal activity in different areas, like specifically
Yeah, the
that I've
world's just
noticed.
weird in
It's just
so many
gone to
ways.
poop in a handbag, I guess you'd say. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's been crazy.
It has. It's been crazy in two different ways. Like that, what you just said, but then there's also been this huge awakening.
Yeah, that's true.
So many
So
people
I guess
have
it's how
woken
you
up.
decide to use that time. Do you decide to pin everything inside and then you just take it out in an unhealthy way, or do you decide to go inward?
And heal
I
it.
call it hermit mode, and like search in yourself and figure out all your layers.
Do the
Instead.
shadow work. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Howard said he uses his bidet to cleanse himself instead of a shower. It works really great also.
Howard's funny.
Oh, Howard. Anybody got any more questions? We're getting low on time. Shoot them out there.
Howard is clearing his root bait chakra with his bidet. Yes, he is.
Like toilet paper.
Exactly like toilet paper.
We're not talking about sandpaper. The
Interesting
sandpaper, cheap one ply.
Ugh.
Everybody watching this, share it with everybody. So
Yes, please. So we can, people will know about other people that do this stuff, and they'll know about her, and they'll know about our show, and they'll know about, like if they want to talk about something that they do that's similar to this is a platform. We welcome everybody to like promote their self and to teach others and instruct others about what they do, because a lot of people don't know this stuff. We've gotten a lot of good questions.
Yeah. If anybody has any questions, shoot them out. We'll answer.
Yeah, and could you say again the name of that page? It's a group page. I can't remember what you said it was when Jason was asking you questions earlier.
Oh, my group?
Yeah, not your personal
Oh.
page, but that other page you were talking about.
The one where I teach?
Yeah.
It's Jessica's free group. So facebook.com/groups/Jessica's free group.
sounds pretty simple.
Yeah, it's pretty
Type
simple.
it in the comments. Jessica's free group.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if I forgot their names, I'm sorry, but you guys wanted to say to reach out to you earlier. What was her name? There's
Loanna.
Yeah, and
Loanna.
Loanna and
Okay, I was telling her to reach out to one of her or Pamela,
Yeah.
and not someone that they don't know a lot about, that doesn't have like like a credibility or like a
If
good
you don't
reputation.
reach out to me or Pamela, make sure you research who you reach out to.
Yeah, please, or
Find
post
someone
it.
that has references.
Well, I'd say post it in a good group, but even then, you've got all these vultures looking at it, and they
so
see it,
many
and they're gonna.
cultures and
Yeah.
stuff. So that is part of why I do my group, is so that you can get to know me and feel me, and you get to feel my energy in that group. And so that's kind of like, I warm you up. And then if you and I decide it's a good fit to work together, we move out of that group into a personal one-on-one, and we work on Zoom to do your healing.
Yeah. And it's cool, like when they can see them on like shows like this, or you're just seeing us sit around and BS with each other, and that gives you more like a real credibility, aspect. So I think.
Plus, you can see Jessica's face, and you can see that she's not some creepy person. That's
I'm not some creepy person.
A catfish, or whatever you want to call them, a catfish.
I'm not going to catfish you.
No,
I'm here to help you. I enjoy helping people, and it's really fun for me to do it.
What is the most common, or is there like a most common request that you get with people that come to you for help?
No, they're very varied. Everyone is very different, very unique because, we all have different experiences. We all have different trauma. One of the things that has surprised me, though, is how many women come to me that have sexual abuse trauma. That's a big one.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I've been through it,
Mm-hmm.
and I've healed mine. And so I can help other women through that, to heal their abuse trauma.
I'm so glad that it's more easy to find resources nowadays for stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, because when this happened to me, I was 17. I was in high school. I didn't even know it was technically rape at the time.
And I bet you were kind of like in your community, like the
Oh
Mormon
yeah,
community, you were
I didn't.
probably
I did not tell anybody.
taught to
Mm.
muzzle it.
Yeah, yeah, I didn't tell anyone.
Yeah.
I just it was well. No, I did tell. I went to my bishop because I thought I had sinned.
Mm.
And so basically, I relived the trauma because you go in and you tell your bishop, and he wants to know what happened. But he doesn't support you as, do I have a website? Yes, I do. It is bloominglotusenergyhealing.com. But I went to my bishop and he basically rehashed the experience with me and then put me through a repentance process, because bishops are not trained psychologists. They are not trained therapists. They are
Yeah.
lay people who have been put over a flock of people that they are supposed to care for spiritually and emotionally. And it's terrible. Do not go to your ecclesiastical leader for trauma help. Don't.
Yeah, I
If
think
you've
there's
been
such a
abused,
fragile
go to the
line
police.
between psychological help and spiritual help. And I don't think that every person is like that. There are a lot of preachers, pastors, fathers, like whatever their label is, that go through training academies, because the part of the church body that I'm affiliated with that's Episcopalian, the father logger that works there has been a Baptist preacher. He has been to other countries all over the place and done like long training courses
Oh
of
yeah,
like,
which is totally different than an
yeah,
LDS bishop, because an LDS
yeah,
bishop is called from the congregation. They
yeah.
call this person who has some other full-time job to take care of.
That sounds like the military.
Oh,
Like, hey, are you a dentist in the military? Well, come over here and shoot. Come over here and get in the infantry line. And you're like,
yeah,
I don't know how to drill people's teeth. I don't know how to.
right. Right. I don't know how to do any
Yeah.
of this. Like
I don't know
had a
sight
bishop
alignment.
who worked in a box facility. And I had a bishop who was a lawyer. And it's like they have no training to deal with this kind of stuff. And it's been eye-opening and scary to see how much sexual abuse has been hidden and stuffed away by the LDS Church. So just don't do it. If you've been sexually or physically abused, don't go to your bishop. Go to the police.
Yeah, definitely. They should go to the police or go to the hospital, and they'll do a
Yes.
kit on them to collect all the
Yes.
evidence if they want
Yes.
to go further than that. And they'll actually contact the police for you, I think, if they'll ask you if you want to or not.
Yes, but
Because a medical examiner, provider, like a hospital, like the emergency room, just go to the emergency room and tell them what happened to you, and they will do what's called a rape kit.
right.
Or that's what they call it. I mean, it could be for many different reasons, like several different things fall under that umbrella, but they'd do something like that and then contact law enforcement for you.
Right. Right. It's yeah. But I do help women heal that trauma. And that's such a blessing. I know that it haunted me for a very long time. And finding energy healing has lifted that. And
it probably brought you to be where you are now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Starting the process of doing that within yourself.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Me personally, I hate that you went through that, but at the same time, like, I can see how it could really help when those other girls talk to you.
Oh yeah.
Because you can relate to it.
Because I've come through it and I'm on the other side. I value that part of my past.
Yeah, I can see.
That I can help other people also come out on the other side. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually have a training course over that. Twice yearly, I have to go to a training course over prevention of that or signs of that going on, and you not knowing it, but signs that it could be going on. And it's also linked together with another part of a course that's like anti and prevention of suicide together, because I guess they're linked so commonly together that if people go through that they start thinking about being worthless and thinking that they're not savable and they're not worthy and they're not that it was their fault or that whatever happened to them.
Oh yeah, and it's been taught from the pulpit in the Mormon Church that if you are being abused, it is your fault, and you are to blame, and you are supposed to do your best to keep that person from abusing you.
Yeah, which not always could be the case in
No.
every situation.
No, in most
And then if you
situations.
did do that, then you'd probably go to jail because they accidentally died or you accidentally
Right.
killed them, and then you'd go to jail
Right.
for the rest of your life.
Right, but
So,
that all of that in and of itself causes so much trauma in so many people, and it gets carried through. And I know that I have healed rape trauma from my ancestors. It happened.
yeah, I think
It
I said
happened
it
in
wrong.
the past. Women have been raped, men have been raped. It's all through history. And it's important to heal that part of yourself. It's important to accept you as an okay person, even though you went through it, and to find forgiveness. And I don't know how forgiveness is taught outside of my religious teachings. I don't know what the rest of the world teaches forgiveness to be, but what I was taught, it's wrong. So what I have learned about
crazy.
forgiveness is it's for you. You do not have to talk to the person you forgive.
Yeah.
It is for you. It is for you to let go and no longer carry that pain.
Yeah.
That's what forgiveness
There's
is.
like, I don't know who says this, but there's a quote. It's some kind of like martial artist quote, or like maybe Buddha or somebody like that. Somebody similar, but it's like, he who harbors revenge or anger is holding a hot coal in their pocket. It's similar to
Right.
that. Like they're holding a hot coal in their pocket, burning. There, it says it burns you both. It's burning you and it's burning them. So why would you want to burn yourself? Because you're holding that anger in your
Yeah.
pocket
Yeah.
against them, and just keep
Holding
burning
a
yourself.
grudge, holding a grudge and being anger, it's all inside you. It doesn't do a dang thing to the person that you're holding it against.
No.
They go on their life and they don't care what you're dealing with. It's
Yeah.
not about them. It's about you.
And it can actually burn other innocent bystanders too.
Oh, thank you.
Come in your
Pamela
life.
has posted up my website.
Yeah, I
There
accidentally
it
said
is.
it wrong, and I was about to ask.
Yeah,
I said
there's my
healing
web.
energy instead of energy healing.
Blooming Lotus Energy Healing, which my kid pointed out to me. If you use the initials, it's bleh.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Bleh. Well, it is
And
after
you can
9:30.
request a female medical provider as well in the
Yeah, I think
hospital.
that's
Yes,
important.
yes.
Sometimes
If you're
people
going
would
through
prefer
that
to do
rape
that.
trauma, you probably want to have a female.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we've come to our time, haven't we?
Yeah, I was fixing to say, so that's past 9:30. But we've had a good conversation, and I'm sure we could talk a lot longer, but that's the end of our show time, is at 9:30.
Thank you for having me on. This was very enjoyable.
You're welcome. And thank you, everybody that watched and had
Yeah.
questions. We had a really good conversation. Swept under the rug. Wish it wasn't. Wish there were more opportunities for people dealing with such trauma. Yeah. Nowadays, there are more outlets, I feel like, or more
There are.
resources. Like, I get resources shared with me often about stuff like that. But, well, not everybody probably does. But
No, not
Yeah.
everybody knows about it, but we do. We're in this healing area, this
Yeah.
arena. And so if you come to any one of us who are in this arena, we probably have a tool that we can share with you, or we can pass on someone who will have a tool.
Yeah. So reach out to someone. You could reach out to Jessica. You could reach out to Pamela. If you want resources or something, I don't do the same kind of healing, and I'm not a hypnotherapist, but I can give you resources if you want to talk to somebody confidentially and help you with that, about stuff like that. So everyone, thank you for sharing all your good questions with us. You made the show really awesome. Good discussion. And have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.